Hello and welcome to another Yin Yoga class with me today. Today's lesson will be focusing on the heart and small intestine meridians. If you're not familiar with the meridians, that is totally fine. I will talk a little bit about where they can be found and what the benefits are of working into these areas today. This class can be for beginners or advanced. I will offer options for the poses so that we can take them to our level. In yin, it's important to always come to our edge in each pose, and then we will find stillness and hold the pose for several minutes, sometimes up to 5 minutes. So we do have time to find our edge in each pose, which is great for a beginner, and also to get comfortable. Remember, if at any times you're feeling any sharpness or unease within each pose, make sure we back off and come back into it when we're ready. Again, this is heart and small intestine meridians, and if you aren't familiar with those, the heart meridian, that line of energy starts at the armpit and runs to the inside of the arm to the outside of the pinky. And your small intestine meridian starts at the outside of the pinky, runs up the back side of the arm, along the upper back to the side of the neck, up to the cheek, and then around back to your ear. So you can guess that today's poses will work the upper body mostly and into the arms and the chest. And if you would like, go ahead and grab a bolster. I have one today and I will be using it. Or you could also grab a nice pillow off your couch if you've got one. That will help in a couple of the poses. And we're actually going to start today in Shavasana Pose. So come with me lying on your backs. And we will just lie down as you would in this pose normally at the end of class. Legs come out long. Arms rest at your sides. And just let your feet fall open. Palms rest naturally up with the fingers curling in gently. And we'll prepare ourselves for today's class. Feeling the back of the body sink into the mat. Realizing that there is effort in our stillness today. That we have action with inaction in each of these poses. Allow the breath to slow. By opening up the heart and the small intestine lines of energy, we'll find that we're opening up our sense of connectedness in our relationships, with those around us, opening up those lines of energy provides a sense of ease, a sense of mental well-being. A way for us to find joy and happiness, a nourishment of our connections with others. As we drop in here, we'll start with a breathing exercise. And it will go like this, and I'll count you through it to get started. And then we'll continue at our own pace. And it will start as we inhale for 4, hold at the top for 1 count, exhale for another 4 counts, hold at the bottom of the exhale for 1 count, and then repeat the process. And I'll get you started. We'll all start with a nice breath in and 1 breath out. And begin inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom. We'll continue, and you can do 3 more rounds of this breath on your own, at your own pace. Count it out and continue to focus on your breath. Very nice. You can start to bring the breath back to a normal pace. We're already activating our rest and digest part of our system. And from here, go ahead and start to wiggle the toes. Maybe wiggle the fingers a little bit. Open the eyes. We're going to bring ourselves up to an easy sit. So you can come onto your sides. You can slowly roll up. Whatever way gets you there. Today's easy sit is going to be a little bit different. And again, we're still working on opening up that front body. That's our main goal today, with opening up these lines of energy. So if it's available to you, this will be easy sit by bringing our hands behind our back in prayer. So take your hands behind you and run them up the back of your body until they come to rest into a prayer position at your back. This can be quite challenging. So if it's not available to you today, you can go ahead and take both your elbows, and maybe that's enough. I'm actually feeling that even more than I did with prayer. If the elbows is too much, you can actually bring your hands to your wrists or your forearms, or maybe grab a towel from your kitchen and use that to keep your hands behind your back and then sit up tall. We'll hold this pose for about 3 minutes. As we're in this pose, continue to keep the chest lifted, shoulders draw down the back. Make the space between your shoulders and your ears as wide as possible. Find your edge. And once you've found your position in the pose, be still, be soft. Maybe you keep your eyes closed here. If your eyes are closed, you can take your internal gaze to your third eye and start to move your focus inward. The forehead is soft. Keep your jaw soft. As you sit in this position and you're aiming to keep your chest lifted, remember we don't want the ribs to open. Keep them drawn in. If your eyes are closed, you can start to open them and undo the arms. Maybe give them a little wiggle. And here we will come into tabletop, all fours position. Just transitioning here. I'm not really holding the pose really long, but we are going to have some movement to kind of break up the stillness. And in tabletop, not a traditional cat and cow. We're going to move through cat and cow in a circular motion and work more on opening up that front line of the body. So go as you would start in your cat and cow and just move around in a circular motion, almost like a barrel, lowering the front body, and then as you come on up, arching the back. Maybe pausing at any pauses that feel good to you. I'm going to go about 3 or 4 times in each direction.
Go ahead and switch directions if you haven't already.
All right, very good. From here, we're going to take our hands and we're going to move them out quite far in front of you, and we are going to put ourselves into puppy pose, or in yin, it's called melting heart pose. So keeping the hips directly above the knees, we're going to bring the hands out far in front of you. Excuse me. And from here, we will lower down and literally, as the name suggests, melt our heart to the mat until your forehead comes and touches the mat. If this is too much, there are options. You can bring your forearms in and then just rest the forehead down, preferably straight down for this. And then feel as you're in the pose, you'll feel your chest sinking deeper and deeper toward the mat as you open up the front of the shoulders. If you find yourself with the forehead at the mat in the traditional pose and you would like to take it even further and you're not feeling any pinching or any sharpness in the shoulders, you can also bring the chin to the mat. And we'll hold this for about 3 to 5 minutes. In yin, by holding these poses for several minutes, we're increasing the circulations within the joint, within the fascia. When we release the poses, the joint is flooded with nourishment and with fluids. And you'll feel that as you release these poses, when you come out, you will feel that rush of energy through the joints. Remember to keep your breath soft and natural. If you find your mind wandering as we hold these poses for a lengthier amount of time, remember to come back to your breath. Focus on the inhales and the gentle exhales. Feeling the body melt further into the pose. Maybe you feel your chest drop more. Notice that you're closer to the mat than you were when you started. To come out of this pose, push through your forearms and come forward. If you want, you can come into a quick Sphinx pose. Just give your front shoulders a little break. And then from here, push back into a child's pose. You can keep your arms right out in front of you, extended. But if your shoulder's a little tired from that last pose, feel free to bring them all the way back alongside the legs. And just take a little rest here for a couple of breaths. Now as we're in child's pose, when you inhale, feel that breath travel down the back line of the body, down the spine, all the way down to the sacrum. Feel the back body open up within each inhale. And then just release with every exhale. Shoulders widening across the back. Feeling our connections here with the earth. All right, push yourself back up into tabletop, and we are going to set ourselves up for success in the next pose, which will be well, actually, we're going to do broken wing pose first. Almost missed one. So also called thread the needle, another great shoulder opener and a chest opener. Take the right arm, reach it high up to the sky, and now we're going to thread that right hand underneath the left arm as we bring the right arm to the mat. Your options for this pose are to stay right here, and you can push into the mat with your left hand and help open up the chest, and you are widening out the back of that right shoulder. You can also bring the hand above your head like so. And if you would like, you could even try to bring the left arm, wrap it around you, and bring it to the inside of the right thigh. So whatever suits you best right now, go ahead and take that posture.
And wherever you're at, push down with that right forearm. You're going to feel the back of the right shoulder start to open. Remember, this is where the stomach meridian it runs, comes up along the outside of the arm, along the upper back. That twisting motion here. To come out of this pose, take your left hand, bring it back in alongside your face, and you will push into your mat and come back up to a tabletop position. And we will switch and do the pose on the left side. Left hand goes into the air, and you thread that down underneath the right arm as you bring your left ear to the mat. And we'll do the same on this side. Take your version of the pose that suits you best, maybe doing the same on this side as you did the other. Activating the left forearm into the earth as you feel the back of the left shoulder open up. Steady, slow breaths. we'll start to unravel from this pose. Bring your right hand in, push into the right palm, and we return to tabletop. Okay, now our next pose will require a little bit of setup if you prefer. I do like to have a bolster with this one. I find it almost a little bit more restorative. We will try a prone Shavasana pose. So basically lying down on our belly. And you can use a bolster. You can also use a nice pillow off of your couch. But we're going to come onto our belly and position your bolster. I like to have it just enough so that I can actually rest my head on it like a little pillow. And from here, your options are to have your hands above you, overhead. Again, our goal is to open up the front line of the shoulders. If that's too much, you can also just bring them in and then rest your head on your hands like so. So, hands are out in front of you. And here we're actually going to turn the neck to the side and rest on our right ear. Opening up along the underside of the arms and through the armpits, and also along the side of the neck with this pose. Allow the breath to stay slow and steady. I like having a little bit of cushion. I find that it's a little easier on my chest and on my side of my ear. So I prefer this method. Use what works for you and take your time to set up to get into the pose that you find at your level of ease. A prone Shavasana can feel very nourishing, very safe, less vulnerable than your normal Shavasana, which you're facing up. When we are prone in this position, you can find that there's maybe less distractions, more ease to look inward with each breath. Okay, if you're still with me, you're still awake, we're going to push ourselves up on our forearms.
And here, you don't need to come all the way up. We're just going to come to a neutral position for a couple of breaths. That can be a lot for the neck, being on one side for so long. Just take a couple of breaths here. And this time we're going to drop in on the left side and turn the left ear down to the pillow or the bolster and extend the arms back out long. And rest your head back down. The breath comes back into a rhythmic but natural rhythm. Bring your attention to your points of connection with the earth. Feel your shins, your thighs, your pubic bone, chest, your arms, forearms, and hands, all connecting with the earth. As we bring the body back to harmony today. Okay, again, to come out of this pose, push into the forearms. Bring the neck back to neutral. I'm struggling today. And stay here just for a couple of breaths. And for our next pose, you can wiggle that bolster or pillow out of the way and set it off to the side. Our next pose, we will continue to be on our bellies. So you're already in that position. But now we are going to play around with the position of our arms. First, start with the legs. Feet can be out comfortably as wide as you prefer. And with the hands, we will take Gomukasana, Garudana arms. So like we would in eagle pose, take the right arm and bring that to the center line of the mat. And at this point, you can take the left arm, cross the left elbow over the right, and we're going to cross our arms and come into that twist. So and maybe this is all you can take because this is kind of a strange feeling when we are on our bellies. So keeping the hands with the backs of the hands together is totally fine. Or you could also twist them once more and go into the full eagle arms. If you're not feeling either one of those today, go ahead and just keep your uh, arms in front of you at the center line of the mat, but instead of being out and apart, draw the elbows in and together and keep the hands in prayer. Okay? So again, if you're taking the full eagle arms, go ahead and bring the right arm into the center, cross the left over, and go for the full wrap. Settle into this pose. Feel the back of the shoulders opening as you have the arms crossed like this. You can really feel the opening along the back of the body. Working that stomach meridian line of energy. Opening this line of energy does have its benefits. One of those is in aiding our mental well-being, easing anxiety, easing our mental overload that we have just in every day. And remember, even when you aren't in your practice, come back to your breath during the day. When something is too much, focus back on your breath, on your inhales and your exhales. Just as we do in our practice, we absorb what is needed and we let go of what is not. Go ahead and start to come out of the pose. Unwind the hands gently. Bring your forearms back to the mat. And here, give a little wiggle. You can stay in Sphinx pose. Keep the chest open. If you'd like, you can take a full seal pose and bring the hands out wide, a little further in front of you. And open that front body. Maybe walk the hands in a little bit. And deepen that seal pose if it's available to you today. A couple of breaths here. And exhale, come back down. And we're going to take Garudasana on the other side. So this time our left hand comes into the center line of the mat. You're going to take that right hand, cross the right elbow over the top, and we will take our eagle arms on the other side. Settling back in, finding your edge. Finding your version of the pose that works for you today. Might be one version one day, something different the next. Just depends on what your body's ready for today. Remember, as we open up the small intestine meridian, it runs down the upper back through the inside of the arm, think I said that wrong. It runs down the upper back and on the outside of the arm. We're opening those up in this pose, balancing out that energy. Making us open to better decision making, improve mental wellness. Very good. Go ahead and unwind the arms. Bring them back underneath you. And from here, we will go ahead and push back into a child's pose. Not too long here. Again, just a chance to make or give the shoulders a time to rest. Take one more deep breath in and out. And from here, you can go ahead and push up, and we are going to come back into a lying on our backs and prepare for a supine Gomukasana pose. This pose is the most tricky part is probably just getting into it and getting the arms feeling like they're positioned correctly. So first, to lower yourself down, you may want to just bend the knees and place the feet flat, make it a little easier on yourself. And from here, we will start on the left-hand side. And just like you would in seated Gomukasana, we're going to have the arms positioned where the back of the left hand is flat against the back. And then we will bring the right hand up and back to meet it. Only we will be lying down in this position. So go ahead and start lowering yourself down. Take the left arm and start to place that behind you with the back of the left hand behind your back. And go ahead and lie right down on top of that hand and find a good spot between your shoulder blades where it feels comfortable. And now you can take your right arm, bring it up overhead, and the right hand can come to meet the left hand. Doesn't have to grasp. That's going to feel a little funky behind the back, but just up and behind the upper back. And we'll go ahead and lay in this position for a few minutes. Let the feet relax out to the sides. And let the shoulders rest into the mat. And again, remember that heart meridian starts at the armpit, runs down the midline of the arm, and goes to the outside of the pinky. We are working on opening up that line of energy in this pose. Maybe by now you're really feeling the circulation improving already in the upper body, within the joints in the shoulders and the arms. Inviting your upper body to relax into this pose.
as the arms start to sink further into the mat. Take nice deep inhales and exhales as you return your focus inward. I'm going to release from this pose, first taking the right arm out from behind you, and then rolling a little bit over so you can take that left arm from behind the back. And we're going to change right away and go into the right side. Go ahead and take the right palm and the right back of the hand, I should say, and that's going to come to the flat of your upper middle back. If it can't go that high, that's fine. Just try to get it comfortably behind your back. Now take the left hand, that goes above your head, and the left palm comes to the flat of your back. Fingertips can be touching, or maybe not. We're just going to lie here and hold the pose for a couple of minutes. And unwind from this pose, first removing the left arm out from behind you, then lifting up and slowly taking that right arm out. And here we will just stay lying and come into our Shavasana pose for the end of our class. Remember to at least spend a few breaths here in Shavasana.
Really absorb what you have just taken part of today. Note the changes that you feel in your body after this class. Maybe staying here for just a couple of minutes, even longer. It's so important to take these last couple of minutes and just to recognize our effort and allow the body that time to integrate everything that we have just done. Dropping in deeply to this pose. If you'd like to hang out here for a few more minutes, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, you can start to bring the feet in. Either come to the side or roll up to a sit. However way you want to get there. And that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me in this yin yoga practice. Another beautiful practice. I encourage you to try more yin yoga sequences in your weekly practices. A great benefit for your joints and just your overall flexibility. And also, I think, for our mental well-being. So, great time out from our day. Thanks for spending that time with me. Namaste.